Priya Desai, thank you so much for being with us on ITV Gold. I'm glad that the India Center Foundation is doing some incredible works. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. I think, like a lot of the audience, it's a huge balance that we're all, being forced to kind of deal with at home, the
Right.
working life, our families, and also these causes that we all care about and don't want to see disappear.
Definitely. And you're joining us from Massachusetts. So could you reflect on how is the situation there and how are you doing and how is your family doing right now?
Yeah, thank you for asking. It's a lot like New York, a lot like the other big metropolitan areas of the country. We are basically, we're all home. I have two children. They both are schooling at home all day. So, it's a juggle of devices and making sure that everybody has what they need. And I'm juggling work and juggling being a parent. And, but I have to say that the thing that I'm, happiest about is that we're all healthy and we have what we need. I'm very, very fortunate. I understand what privilege I have, and it gives me the opportunity to be able to do the kind of work that I'm going to talk to you about today.
Yes, definitely. And let's just get to the work and let's talk about it. The Intercenter Foundation is doing so much work across New York and across the country, actually. If I was to ask you right now what your vision and your programs are with what's happening with COVID-19 and its impact on, economy, on everything, the entire life, what could you, give us about India Center Foundation right now and all the work that you guys are doing?
Sure. So, on a normal day, the India Center Foundation is a fairly new arts nonprofit based in New York City, but really serving the country. And our mission is to be kind of a platform for support for the diaspora of South Asia as they express themselves. So it's mostly in terms of the arts. So usually we would be putting on film screenings and doing music concerts and supporting, through money and other means, projects getting made. We've created artist residencies. We've done film festivals. We've partnered with the likes of Lincoln Center to put on music programs that have brought the diaspora voice into the mainstream. One of the things that I think sets us apart is not only are we just trying to support the diaspora as they express themselves, but
Right.
we realize now that the diaspora is 1, 2, even 3 generations into America. Our voice is part of the larger American voice. And it's incredibly important to us that we have that voice be heard in the mainstream, not just in community centers and for just ourselves. As much as we all want to support each other, it's really our mission to make sure our voice is heard on larger stages. So usually that's what we would be doing. But as COVID-19 hit, we had to pivot, and we pivoted to creating an art fund, a grant fund for artists of South Asian descent.
Definitely. And I want to talk to you about this fund in just a second, but I kind of wanted to highlight on these artists and these performers that are being represented by the India Center Foundation right now. We often very proudly, ITV Gold represents all the performance arts organizations and the artists themselves nationwide because it is a push that we need to do in our community. Talk to us about the kind of artists you are representing right now and, what is happening to them as COVID-19 has really hit like the livelihood of many, art associations nationwide.
Right. So, as you well know, because you guys support the arts too,
Right.
artists make money differently than other people. They often have a wonderful idea and they need funds and support to see it grow and happen and to create it. And often they are not compensated until a play is put on in a theater, a music concert happens, tickets are sold in a movie theater, something like that. That's when they get compensated. With the onset of COVID-19, all of that disappeared. If your audience thought about, just the next 3 things they were going to go see,
Yeah.
that includes binge watching something on Netflix. It includes going to the movie theater. It includes taking your children to a music concert, even going to a library and picking up a book. All of that is the work of creators, and creators they cannot really create until they know that they have, the promise of their work being shown.
Right.
COVID-19 is preventing that. We're all sitting at home. So the idea that we had was since none of the shows that we were going to support could be put on, we took some of that money and we put it into an artist fund so that in this time that artists cannot publicly express themselves, they can still be creating work at home. So, and they could be compensated for it. It's incredibly important. You know, we all know the stereotype of an artist's life. You know, they're not all Mindy Kalings, they're not all Priyanka Chopras. You know, most of them are working tirelessly in their apartments, in their homes, just creating what comes, you know, from their soul and from their hearts. And we wanted to make sure that those voices stayed strong throughout this crisis, because when we come to the other side of it, we want to make sure they're still making what they want to make.
Definitely, and it is a huge impact on these artists who are just performing, and you know, there's a huge shut on the entire performance industry. You know, looking at the South Asian Arts Resilience Fund that you have going on, talk to us about the kind of artists that you are right now representing through this funding, and also how many artists are you hoping to reach out to through this massive fund that you've started?
Well, I'm really proud to say that the India Center Foundation, we put in 20,000 of our own dollars. We also have a GoFundMe campaign going on for really all of us in the community to pitch in on this effort. We continue to raise money for it. And the way this works is, so long as there are funds, we will keep giving out grants. Round one of the grants just closed, and we were very, very pleased to see that we got about 120 applications for grants. These are going to be about $1,000 each, and they're going to really compensate artists for about 4 to 6 weeks of work. And the artists had to tell us what their financial loss had been during COVID-19. They also had to sort of show us what their commitments to the arts really were. They did that by showing us samples of their work. They gave us a description of the kind of thing they'd want to do with this money that we're going to give them. And our hope, honestly, is that with the support of the larger community who see themselves in this work, you know, you, me, the audience of this show, we all are represented by the things that these artists do. We're hoping that we can keep this fund going. So if you think about it, $1,000 grant, you know, $1,000 per artist adds up. So 20,000 isn't going to take us too far. We are going to need a lot more to keep this going and to keep all the voices alive. And to answer your question about what kind of artists we are representing, so far, I'm really pleased to say that, you know, of those 120 applications, they run the gamut. They come from, you know, as far as their South Asian descent, they come from all over the subcontinent, and it's all over South Asia. It's not just India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Sri Lankan artists, and we have received applications from dancers, from performing artists, musicians, filmmakers. And we've also received and are accepting applications, not just from the creators themselves, but from the small arts organizers who help these people get their stuff seen. So, you know, if you are, I'm thinking of an organization such as Indie Meme, which is a small film festival organization in Austin, Texas. It's run by really largely a group of volunteers. They bring the most incredible independent films from South Asia to an audience in Austin, and Austin loves them. They, you know, but they had, their film festival was just about to go live. It was just about to happen when COVID hit. They had spent all their money on their film festival. COVID shut it down. And they are endeavoring to, you know, go online with their film festival to still make those films seen. That's incredible work that has to continue to happen. So for organizations such as that, who we can help, we are accepting those kind of applications as well.
You know, Priya, if I was to ask you to detail what some of the challenges you've seen amongst these artists, you know, we don't have to go too deep into what is happening, but for our audience to understand how badly some of these artists could be suffering, could you highlight on that, please?
Sure. Well, you know, it really depends on an artist's particular predicament. Some have day jobs because they have to be able to finance their lives. And some, you know, have gone all in. You know, they are screenwriters, they're musicians, they are filmmakers. You know, they do this for a living and they go gig to gig. You know, this term gig economy is something, you know, we've been hearing more and more with the likes of Uber. But artists have been gig workers forever. You know, they have been taking gig jobs their entire careers. gig jobs have basically gone away. There's, if you are 100% an artist, 100% of your time, you are no longer finding work in public spaces. You can't be a filmmaker because there's nowhere to show your film publicly. You can't film your film that you might have had in production. If you are a musician who had a 10-city tour lined up for the summer, all those shows have been canceled. All those theaters are shuttered, or all those nightclubs. If you are a visual artist who finally got a gallery to present your work, the gallery's shut down and they can't invite anybody to see the work. So the idea of public gathering and, kind of common communal experiencing of art, it's gone. That is the lifeblood of art. Art brings us all together, and we physically can't do that right now. And that's why artists are suffering.
Well, I'm really thankful to you for putting that picture up there. I think it could really help inspire some people, to help the fund and to get the word out even more. These artists that are applying to your programs, if there's somebody watching you right now, what kind of programs could they look forward to, some of the benefits that they can look forward to from the India Center Foundation and this fund in the next coming weeks, so that they can perhaps, reach out to you? I would like for you to highlight some of that as well.
Sure. Well, round one of the grant has already closed. We actually, we received those 120 applications. So we are now in the process of assessing those applications, and we will give out a first round of grants. We plan to give out a second round of grants, and that application cycle is actually open right now. So between now and its next deadline, which is all on our website, theindiacenter.us/artsfund, artists can apply for these $1,000 grants. It's a fairly simple application, and that is sort of the frontline way that we can start helping artists. The other thing that I think we plan to do once we start giving grants is giving at least a virtual platform to all these artists and their work. We can start, I think one of the huge benefits of contributing to the fund, of being a donor, is that you kind of will get a first look at some new things that are getting made. So if an artist is working on a piece, if a musician is composing something, if a dancer needed, time and space to, maybe make a piece of music that she was choreographing a piece to, we all are going to get a nice first look at those things. And again, this is about, communal experiencing of art as it happens. So that's the kind of exposure that we hope we can give to more South Asian artists in the US.
Priya, what is your focus for the next 2 to 3 weeks, especially with this fund and all of the next process that's going on in it?
Well, it's twofold. I would say, one, I want to see the channel of applications open wide. I want to see applications from all over the country. I want to see applications from all South Asian artists. I want to see all disciplines represented. And so I'm working hard, and the board with me of the India Center, we're working really hard to reach out to community partners to make sure that people in their communities know that we exist. Right. So this is an incredible opportunity. My second goal is to keep raising money for the fund. This fund only works if we all support it. And we can only keep supporting our artists so long as we have the money to keep supporting our artists. And, India Center is a young, new nonprofit. We have big goals, and we're very proud of our big goals, but we actually work best when we have partners. And right now, those partners are, it's everybody in the community who can give what they can give. And I think my plea on that, and the thing that I think about when I think about it, it was funny. My father, who, lived in California my parents lived in California for almost 40 years, avid watchers. And he wanted to send a note to his friends about the fund because, I had created it. And he said, why don't you write something? And the thing that I thought about when I thought about the community that I came from, that I grew up in, the South Asian community that I grew up in, it was that, we all grew up learning music, learning dance. Our children now learn music and learn dance. These grandparents are benefiting from seeing generations and generations benefit from the work of artists in their communities. And the the very people who we are trying to support with this fund, who admittedly are much younger members of the South Asian community on the whole, they're going to be the teachers of tomorrow. They're going to be the people that help us keep all this alive tomorrow. And they're also going to be the people who push the envelope, on the cultural conversation about what it means to be South Asian in America. It's their voices who are going to keep us all going as a community. When we think about, it was funny, I was just before you, I was actually folding laundry because that's what you do in COVID. But I was also watching Mindy Kaling's new show on Netflix, which is about a young girl who's lost her father and is trying to make her way in her sophomore year of high school outside of Los Angeles. And the very fact that those actors have a stage in mainstream TV, streaming right now, that story can be told, that she can unapologetically show a scene of a Ganesh puja in the middle of Netflix, and even tell jokes about it. That's a real milestone, and we have to keep those milestones coming. And the only way to do that is to support the next voices, because you don't know who they're going to become. You don't know where they're going to land up with their story, and it really is incumbent on all of us to support that.
Well, I wish you the very best of luck with India Center and this fund. Thank you so much for your time on ITV Gold. One last message to all of our audience and also the lovers of performance arts. I would love for you to reach out to them.
Well, I just want to say that if you want to go back to a world that includes, scoring the tickets to the Zakir Hussain concert, but also, maybe going to your local college and seeing, the Bhangra competition, but also seeing art in your, paper that was done by a South Asian artist who, is telling the story of where she came from. This is the fund for you. This is what you support, because all of their work today will be what we all see tomorrow. And this is planning. This is us setting ourselves up to be represented and for our voices not to be lost.